First Contact and Deception. Admiral Sarah Chen stood at the observation deck of Lunar Command, her eyes fixed on the holographic display showing the approaching vessels. The first signs had appeared 3 weeks ago, unusual gravitational distortions at the edge of the Kuiper Belt. Now, 27 massive ships were decelerating toward the solar system, their energy signatures unlike anything humanity had encountered before. "Admiral, they're broadcasting," Lieutenant Park announced, his voice steady despite the tension. "All frequencies, multiple formats." Chen nodded, her expression neutral. After 15 years leading Earth's Space Defense Force, she had learned to trust her instincts. Something about this approach felt wrong. The ships were arranged too perfectly, their formation too precise for a peaceful diplomatic mission. "Play it," she ordered. The message filled the command center, transmitted in perfect English. "People of Earth, we are the Krex Confederation. We come seeking peaceful exchange and scientific collaboration. Our civilization has traveled far to meet yours." Behind Chen, Dr. Maya Patel, Earth's leading xenolinguist, frowned. "The translation is too perfect," she whispered. "No first contact should be this clean." Chen had already reached the same conclusion. While the diplomatic channels buzzed with excitement about humanity's first alien contact, she had quietly activated Project Lighthouse, Earth's hidden defensive grid, powered by quantum-linked AI systems that had been preparing for this moment for decades. "Another transmission incoming," Lieutenant Park reported. "They're requesting permission to send a delegation to Luna Base for direct talks." Chen exchanged glances with Dr. Patel. The Krex ships had maintained their perfect formation, now hovering just beyond Neptune's orbit. Their energy readings remained constant, almost too constant, as if deliberately masked. "Interesting timing," Chen mused. "Just as our long-range scanners are experiencing those mysterious interference patterns." Dr. Patel nodded, her fingers dancing across her tablet. "The interference started exactly 6 hours after their arrival. Too convenient." Chen turned to her tactical officer, Commander James Rodriguez. "Status of Lighthouse." "All nodes operational, Admiral," Rodriguez responded quietly. "The quantum network is collecting data. The AI's behavioral analysis suggests a 92% probability that their formation is optimized for combat, not diplomatic contact." Chen allowed herself a small smile. While the Krex thought they were being clever with their interference, they had no idea that Earth's true defensive capabilities lay in a network of quantum-linked satellites and stations, hidden in plain sight as weather monitors and communication relays. Each node housed a piece of humanity's most advanced AI system, constantly learning and adapting. "Accept their request for talks," Chen ordered. "Let's play their game. Dr. Patel, you'll lead the diplomatic team. Commander Rodriguez, initiate silent watch protocols." As the command center burst into activity, Chen received a private message from Project Lighthouse's AI core. The data visualization showed the Krex ship's true energy signatures, masked beneath layers of technological deception. They were warships, every single one of them, with enough firepower to glass a planet. But the Krex had made one critical mistake. They assumed humanity was as technologically primitive as their public infrastructure suggested. They had no idea that Earth's apparent vulnerability was a carefully crafted illusion, hiding decades of quantum computing breakthroughs and AI development. "Admiral," Rodriguez called out, "we're detecting micro-jumps at the edge of the system. Small craft trying to slip through the interference pattern." "Let them think they're undetected," Chen ordered. "Lighthouse is tracking every single one. Time to see just how far they'll take this deception." Hours later, as Dr. Patel prepared for the diplomatic meeting, Chen stood alone in her private office, reviewing Lighthouse's latest analysis. The AI had already mapped out the Krex's likely attack vectors, their ship's weapons capabilities, and most importantly, their technological blind spots. The message from Earth's governing council was clear. Defend humanity at all costs, but do not reveal the full extent of Earth's capabilities unless absolutely necessary. Chen intended to follow those orders to the letter. Let the Krex think their plan was working. Let them believe their deception was successful. Because when they finally showed their true intentions, Earth would be ready. The hidden shield. They're scanning again. Lieutenant Park reported, his eyes fixed on the sensor readouts, focused pulses, trying to penetrate our orbital defense grid. It had been 3 days since the Krex delegation's arrival at Luna Base. 3 days of carefully orchestrated tours, diplomatic pleasantries, and hidden preparations. Dr. Patel led the talks with practiced ease, while beneath the surface, Earth's defensive systems silently tracked every Krex movement. Commander Rodriguez approached Chen's station, tablet in hand. Lighthouse has completed its analysis of their scanning technology. The AI confirms they're using quantum-based sensors, but at least 2 generations behind our current capabilities. Chen nodded, studying the complex data patterns flowing across her secure display. The Krex thought they were being subtle, using their diplomatic mission as cover, while their stealth ships mapped Earth's defenses. They had no idea that each scan they performed was feeding directly into Lighthouse's adaptive algorithms. "Show me the projection," Chen ordered. A holographic display materialized, showing the true extent of the Krex fleet. Behind their visible warships, hundreds of smaller vessels waited in the shadows of trans-Neptunian objects. Their energy signatures might be masked to conventional sensors, but Lighthouse's quantum network saw everything. "They're positioning for a multi-vector assault," Rodriguez observed. "Classic encirclement strategy. But look at this." He highlighted a particular section of the projection. "Their ships maintain quantum communication links, even in stealth mode. It's their weakness." Chen allowed herself a grim smile. "And Lighthouse can detect those links, even through their interference." "Better than that," Rodriguez replied. "It can predict their exact attack patterns based on their communication frequency changes. We'll know when they're about to strike before they do." In the diplomatic conference room below, Dr. Patel was masterfully playing her role. The Krex ambassador, a towering figure named Voxcar, seemed convinced that humanity was exactly what they appeared to be: a young, naive species ripe for conquest. Chen received a priority alert from Lighthouse. The AI had detected a subtle shift in the Krex fleet's quantum communication patterns. They were preparing to move. "How long?" she asked Rodriguez. "Lighthouse predicts they'll strike within 48 hours. They're waiting for their stealth ships to complete their mapping of our defensive grid." Chen opened a secure channel to Earth's Defense Council. "Initiate Phase 2. It's time to show them what humanity's been hiding." The trap is sprung. The Krex attack began exactly as Lighthouse predicted, but with one surprise. They struck 6 hours earlier than expected. Voxcar's diplomatic shuttle abruptly broke orbit from Luna Base, its engines flaring hot as it accelerated toward the safety of the main fleet. Simultaneously, hundreds of stealth ships decloaked throughout the solar system, their weapons charging. Multiple hostile contacts. Park's voice cut through the command center. "They're launching from hidden positions near Mars, Jupiter's moons, and the asteroid belt." Chen stood calmly at her station, watching the tactical display light up with enemy signatures. "Status of Lighthouse. All systems optimal," Rodriguez reported with quiet confidence. "The quantum network is fully synchronized." "They took our bait, Admiral." The vulnerable defense platforms that the Krex had spent days scanning were nothing but elaborate decoys, designed specifically to be discovered. Earth's true defensive grid had remained invisible, its quantum-linked nodes waiting for precisely this moment. "The Krex flagship is broadcasting," Park announced. "System-wide transmission." The familiar voice of Voxcar filled the command center, but gone was the diplomatic veneer. "People of Earth, you have been judged and found wanting. Your technology, your resources, your very world, all will serve the greater glory of the Krex Confederation. Surrender now, and we may yet show mercy." Chen opened a channel to all Earth forces. "Initiate Lighthouse Protocol." Aurora. Across the solar system, Humanity's hidden defensive grid awakened. Quantum fields shimmered into existence, enveloping Krek's vessels in bubbles of distorted space-time. Their weapons fired, but the energy blasts curved harmlessly away, caught in localized gravity wells that Lighthouse generated with precise calculation. "They're trying to adapt," Rodriguez reported, his fingers dancing across his console, attempting to modify their quantum communications to break free. "Let them," Chen replied. "Every adaptation feeds more data to Lighthouse." The AI's quantum network learned and evolved with each passing second. As the Krek's ships struggled to coordinate their assault, Lighthouse was already predicting their next moves, countering strategies they hadn't even implemented yet. On the main display, Chen watched as the first phase of humanity's counterattack unfolded. Hidden defense platforms emerged from their camouflaged positions within asteroids and planetary rings. But instead of conventional weapons, they emitted precisely calibrated quantum fields that interfered with the Krek ship's own systems. "Their fleet is fragmenting," Park announced. "We're detecting multiple critical failures in their quantum communication network." Without their crucial command and control systems, the precise formations of the Krek's Armada began to break down. Ships collided as their navigation systems failed, while others found themselves unable to maintain their stealth fields. "Message from Voxcar's flagship," Park reported. They're demanding to know how we're doing this." Chen allowed herself a small smile. "No response needed, Lieutenant. Actions speak louder than words." Lighthouse's quantum network continued its relentless assault, not with destructive force, but with mathematical precision. Each Krek's attempt to regain control of their systems only gave the AI more data to work with, more patterns to analyze and counter. "Admiral," Rodriguez called out, "Lighthouse is detecting a power surge in the Krek's flagship. They're preparing to launch some kind of last resort weapon." As expected, Chen nodded. "Initiate Lighthouse protocol. Mirrors." What happened next would be studied in military academies for generations to come. As the Krek's flagship channeled massive energy into its primary weapon array, Lighthouse's quantum fields redirected that power back through their own systems. The massive vessel's shields collapsed inward, its weapons turned useless by its own energy signature. "The rest of their fleet is falling back," Park reported. "They're attempting emergency FTL jumps. Lighthouse has full predictive lock on their retreat vectors," Rodriguez added. "Ready to proceed with final phase on your order." Chen watched the tactical display, where the once mighty Krek's Armada now scattered in disarray. They had come expecting to find a primitive civilization ripe for conquest. Instead, they had discovered that humanity's apparent technological inferiority had been the greatest deception of all. "Execute final phase," Chen ordered. "Let's make sure they carry a message back to the Confederation." Counterattack. "Lighthouse has identified their primary fallback positions," Rodriguez reported, his voice steady as streams of data flowed across the tactical displays. "The Kreks are attempting to regroup behind Deimos, using Mars' magnetic field to shield their quantum signatures." Admiral Chen studied the holographic projection, watching as the scattered Krek's vessels limped toward their rallying points. Their once perfect formation was now a chaos of desperate movements and failed coordination attempts. But Chen knew better than to underestimate a wounded enemy. "Status of their quantum communication network?" she asked. "Severely degraded but not completely disabled," Dr. Patil answered, having returned to the command center after the diplomatic charade ended. "They're switching to backup protocols we haven't seen before. More primitive, but harder for us to predict." Chen nodded. This was the critical moment, the point where overconfidence could turn victory into disaster. Lighthouse assessment. The AI's response appeared on her private display, a complex web of probability calculations and strategic projections. The Kreks weren't beaten yet. They were adapting, learning, their desperation making them more dangerous, not less. "They're preparing something," Rodriguez warned. "Energy readings from their secondary vessels are spiking in unusual patterns." "Show me," Chen ordered. The tactical display zoomed in on a cluster of Krex support ships. They were arranging themselves in a geometric pattern, their hull configurations shifting like pieces of a massive puzzle. "Analysis complete," Park announced. "They're combining their ship's quantum fields, creating some kind of unified energy matrix." Dr. Patel's eyes widened as she studied the data. "It's brilliant, actually. They're trying to match our quantum network's frequency to create a counterfield that could neutralize Lighthouse." "Not brilliant enough," Chen replied calmly. "Initiate protocol." Prism. Across the solar system, humanity's quantum defense grid shifted. The nodes of Lighthouse's network began pulsing in a complex rhythm, each one adjusting its quantum signature microseconds after the Krex scanned it. It was like trying to hit a target that moved the instant you looked at it. "Their counterfield is failing," Rodriguez reported. "They can't lock onto our quantum frequency." "Now," Chen ordered, "launch the Fireflies." From hidden bays across Earth's orbital infrastructure, thousands of tiny drones emerged. Each one was barely larger than a human hand, powered by miniaturized quantum cores that Lighthouse controlled directly. They moved like a swarm of insects, their trajectories unpredictable yet perfectly coordinated. The Krex responded with point defense fire, their energy weapons carving lines through space. But the Fireflies were too small, too fast, too numerous. For every drone they destroyed, 5 more slipped through their defenses. "Fireflies are in position," Park announced, "ready for quantum insertion." Chen's expression remained neutral, but there was a glint of satisfaction in her eyes. "Execute." The Fireflies attached themselves to the hulls of the Krex vessels, their quantum cores synchronizing with the ship's own systems. But instead of destroying them, the drones began rewriting their command protocols from the inside out. "By the stars," Dr. Patel breathed, watching the data stream in. "We're not just disrupting their systems, we're reprogramming them." One by one, the Krex ship's weapons powered down. Their engines cut out. Emergency systems activated, but they too fell under Lighthouse's control. The mighty Armada that had come to conquer Earth was being turned into a fleet of drifting hulks. "Message from Voxcar," Park reported. "They're requesting terms of surrender." Chen opened a channel to the Krex flagship. "This is Admiral Chen. Your terms are simple. You will provide us with full access to your ship's databases, including your star charts and tactical records. You will submit to quarantine and inspection, and you will carry a message back to your confederation." There was a long pause before Voxcar responded, his once confident voice now trembling slightly. "What message?" "That Earth is not what you thought we were. That humanity's apparent technological limitations were a choice, not a weakness, and that any future attempts to test our defenses will be met with even less mercy than we've shown today." As the Krex commander transmitted his formal surrender, Chen turned to her staff. "Begin recovery operations. I want every piece of their technology studied and analyzed. Lighthouse will continue monitoring for any attempts at self-destruction or hidden weapons." The real work was just beginning. Earth had won its first interstellar war, but Chen knew this wouldn't be the last challenge humanity faced among the stars. The Krex were just one civilization among many, and their defeat would send ripples through the galaxy. "Dr. Patel," she called, "I need you to begin analyzing their cultural database as soon as we have access. I want to know everything about who they are, where they came from, and most importantly, who they answer to." The xenolinguist nodded grimly. "You think there's something bigger behind this?" The Krex were too confident, too certain of their superiority, Chen replied. "That kind of arrogance usually comes from somewhere. And I want to know exactly what we've just picked a fight with." Victory beyond Mars. 3 days after the Krex surrender, Admiral Chen stood in a secure chamber deep within Luna Base, surrounded by holographic displays of the captured alien data. Dr. Patel and Commander Rodriguez worked nearby, sifting through the vast archive of information their victory had provided. Their star maps are extensive, Dr. Puddle reported, manipulating a three-dimensional projection of the galaxy. The Krex Confederation controls nearly 300 systems. But look at this. She highlighted a section of space far beyond their territory. They answer to something larger, something they call the Eternal Dominion. Chen studied the map thoughtfully. The defeat of the Krex fleet hadn't just protected Earth. It had announced humanity's presence on an interstellar stage far larger than anyone had imagined. Lighthouse's analysis of their technology is revealing, Rodriguez added, bringing up detailed schematics. Their quantum communication systems are based on principles similar to ours, but they never thought to use them defensively. They saw quantum mechanics as a tool for conquest, not protection. That's been their mistake from the beginning, Chen replied. They assumed that any civilization advanced enough to develop quantum technology would use it the same way they did, to dominate, to destroy. The chamber's displays shifted, showing footage from the various Krex ships now in Earth's custody. The alien crews remained under quarantine, their initial hostility giving way to a wary respect as they realized the full extent of humanity's capabilities. What they don't understand, Chen continued, is that we developed Lighthouse because we expected this day would come. Not just the Krex, but any advanced civilization that might find us. We needed a defense that could adapt to any threat, learn from any enemy. And now, Dr. Patil asked, the Krex defeat won't go unnoticed. The Eternal Dominion will eventually learn of this. Chen smiled. That's exactly what we're counting on. Lighthouse has already processed enough of their data to begin upgrading our defensive capabilities. By the time word reaches the Dominion, we'll be ready for whatever they might send. A priority alert flashed across the displays. Admiral, Park's voice came through the comm system. We're detecting quantum signature changes in the captured Krex vessels. They're receiving some kind of long-range transmission. Source, Chen demanded. Unknown, but the signal characteristics match what we've seen in the Krex database about the Eternal Dominion. Chen exchanged glances with her officers. This was sooner than expected, but not unprepared for. Initiate protocol. Quantum echo. Across the solar system, Lighthouse's network hummed to life. The AI didn't just block the incoming transmission. It captured it, analyzed it, and began learning from it instantly. New defensive algorithms spawned and evolved in microseconds as the system adapted to this first contact with a power even greater than the Krex. Message intercepted and decoded, Rodriguez announced. It's an acknowledgement, Admiral. The Dominion knows what happened here. They're requesting direct communication. Chen straightened her uniform. Earth's victory over the Krex had been impressive, but it was just the beginning. Humanity had revealed itself as a force to be reckoned with, and now the real challenges would begin. Put it through, she ordered. But first, activate all Lighthouse protocols. Fold spectrum analysis, predictive modeling, everything. If the Eternal Dominion wants to talk, we're going to be ready for any surprises. As the quantum communication link established itself, Chen felt a fierce pride in what humanity had accomplished. They had not just defeated an alien armada, they had proven that humanity's greatest strength wasn't in weapons or ships, but in their ability to think differently, to turn defensive technology into an impenetrable shield. The holographic display flickered, and a new alien form materialized, larger, more ethereal than the Krex. The representative of the Eternal Dominion spoke, its words translated instantly by Lighthouse's ever-learning systems. Humanity, the being said, its tone carrying both warning and respect. You have surprised us. Perhaps the galaxy is more interesting than we believed. Chen stepped forward, her voice firm. We're full of surprises, and we're just getting started. As the diplomatic exchange began, Lighthouse continued its silent work, learning, adapting, preparing. Earth had won its first interstellar conflict, but the real test of humanity's ingenuity was just beginning. Whatever challenges the Eternal Dominion might bring, they would find that humanity's greatest weapon wasn't their technology. It was their endless capacity to innovate, to adapt, and to overcome. The stars had once seemed like a barrier. Now they were a challenge, and humanity was ready to meet it head-on. End.